Good evening. I'm John Bailey. This is People to be Heard, the program where people who have something to say have their say, and I'm joined tonight by Jim Benerofe. Welcome aboard. Tonight, you've got Sandy Wollman, entrepreneur and advocate for corporate incubators and president of Westchester Angels, an organization of investors which funds startups in Westchester County. Welcome to the program, and thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me, John.
Great. Now, he addressed the first Westchester County-sponsored meeting of a task force of small businesses and officials, shown here on this slide of the meeting, and they talked about the advantages to the county of providing more incubator space in the county. Mr. Wollman has invented and patented a hook and loop fastener when he was with 3M Corporation, which he has patented, and he was a partner in Carna Mills, a textile converting company in New York serving Ralph Lauren, Garess, and Capital Mercury Shirt Company. He himself is a private investor. Well, Mr. Wollman, what is an incubator?
An incubator is a business that is created to nurture startup companies. Mm-hmm. And there's a million different flavors of incubators. Every incubator and accelerator is slightly different. They're very unique to each other.
Mm-hmm. And what is the next stage after an incubator?
Well, traditionally, a startup is going to go into an incubator or an accelerator, mm-hmm. and I'll get into those differences, mm-hmm. To get smarter, to learn, and also for connections for business after they graduate. But to answer your question, after an incubator, traditionally a startup is going to look for funding mm-hmm. to grow their business.
I see. Now, you addressed this group of some 50 entrepreneurs, officials, and business people at the County Executive's Task Force to establish incubators. How do more incubators get started in a timely fashion?
Well,
here?
You know, the incubator business model is a challenging model. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, according to the National Incubator Business Association, which I've gone to their seminars in Florida a couple years ago, the funding and the feeder system for incubators is really key to the success. Incubators are traditionally funded by either government entities, academia, universities, colleges, privately funded, or through grants. And traditionally, across the country, about 80 to 85% of the incubators around the country, they fail. They fail for two reasons. The first reason is a lack of consistent funding. You know, government entities are not consistent sources of funding. And the second reason is a lack of a consistent feeder system. Mm-hmm. So in Westchester, we have the making of creating a fantastic entrepreneurial system. But the incubator is part of that system. Mm-hmm. We have colleges and universities such as Mercy College has an incubator now. It's located in the Bronx, very close to Westchester. Iona College just received a grant to create a business innovation center. The Westchester Angels are here to fund. And there's co-working spaces. So this is the right time in Westchester to create a very robust entrepreneurial system.
What exactly happens with an incubator? I'm in a business. I make gadgets, let's say.
Very
now, I join an incubator. What do they do? Do they give me any kind of specific training? Do they help me find employees, etc.?
Every incubator, as I said, beats to their own drum. Traditionally, an incubator is going to provide education. The small difference between incubators and accelerators, traditionally an accelerator will take an equity position in the company. So there's a vested interest in an accelerator model as compared to the incubator model, which is traditionally there to provide education and mentorship.
One of the office space, though.
Pardon me?
Office space too.
Well,
Nice to me.
exactly
Yeah.
right. Office space is part of the thing, is part of the attraction of an incubator. So if you're a startup that has the best idea for a new widget in whatever industry or software platform or whatever the case may be, traditionally you're going to go to that incubator, and it's going to be a 2 or 3 month program taught by industry professionals. Experienced industry professionals that really provide an awful lot of value to the startup, because traditionally a startup is a millennial, and they need to learn more about businesses and how they run, and that's what an incubator does.
What is in it for the company that invests in a startup? Is there an investment, a tax advantage? What is in it for them?
Well,
A piece of the action?
Traditionally, angel investing is the first tranche of investing after family and friends. It is traditionally a very risky investment, because traditionally, according to the Angel Capital Association, which is the umbrella that most angel groups belong to, organization here in the United States, about half of angel investments are going to fail. These are very early stage companies. About a third are going to give you some sort of return. Maybe you get your money back, maybe you get a little bit of profit, maybe you get a little bit of a loss. All angel investors are looking for that 20 or 30 banger with a company that can scale from here and to here. And angel investors make money when the company is sold or there's an exit. And traditionally that's a sale. Occasionally it's an IPO. Traditionally it's a sale.
I see. Jim?
About how many companies are you invested in at the moment?
As of right now, the Westchester Angels, we have it, and in a lot of ways, the Westchester Angels, we're a startup ourselves. We're a startup angel group.
But it's going about 3 years, right?
Yeah, thank you. That's correct, though. At the end of this year, we will have finished our 3rd year. And quite honestly, our first half year was a little painful as we learned the ropes. But right now, we are collaborating with some of the most robust angel groups in New York City, the Golden Seeds, the Harvard Business Angels, the Executive Forum Angels, 37 Angels, some really very well-established companies. But to answer your question specifically, right now we've invested over $500,000 within our first 2.5 years. We've invested in 8 different startups, and we're very excited about the progress that they've all made.
What are these startups like? What kind of businesses?
We have been pitched everything from medical marijuana to rocket ships. I have heard 1,000 pitches in the past year because I have the privilege of being able to do this full time. I spend a lot of time in the city with other angel groups, listening to other pitches. I go to startup pitch events such as our friend Alan Brody at Startup Palooza. I volunteer for an awful lot of incubators in the city as well, because I really appreciate the ability to give back.
Jim?
What kind of businesses, what are the key things you look for? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people come up with all kinds of ideas, like you said, rocket ships.
Yeah, well, what we look for, and you know, it's not easy for the startups. Traditionally, they're going to apply to us for funding on a GUST platform, which brings angel investors in a startup community together, and they give an 8-minute pitch. And what we're looking for is we want to understand what your business does and why it's better than the existing businesses out there. We want to know what your secret sauce is, and we want to know it in English. We don't want to see very intricate chemical diagrams, or, you know, we're simple angel investors. We want to understand what you do, and most importantly, we want to know how you're going to scale your business. How are you going to take the business from here when you're pre-revenue or you just have some revenue, and you're going to take it over to here where you can exit your business and sell it for tens of millions of dollars. But most importantly, what I want to see is, can you run a business? You know, we invest in people. When we look at a startup, we look at the team. We want to know are you open to help? Are you open to advice? And that's what Angels do. Not only do we invest dollars, but we provide mentorship, we provide contacts, and we provide as much value as we can to the startup.
Yeah, and you have these little opportunities to present about once a month?
We, the Westchester Angels right now, we meet 5 times a year. We don't meet in the summer.
Yeah.
In 2019, we are going to be meeting 6 times a year. We're going to be providing education for our accredited investors about the angel investing space. We're going to make a, we're going to be collaborating with the 37 Angels for their boot camp, which they're very well established and robust angel group. So 2019 is going to be a real pivot year for us. We have a bunch of new members on the horizon that can provide a lot of value. And that's the fun part of angel investing. You don't have to do due diligence on a startup yourself. It's done in a team. And it's done with the experience and the expertise of the investors around the room. And we're very fortunate to have experienced business people in a lot of different industries.
Jim?
So, what do you do when you go out to get your funding, and how much funding do you keep around? In other words, have you got $1 million to lend out? Have you got?
Well, there's 2 different types of basic organizations of angel groups. We're a traditional angel group where investors do due diligence in teams, but individuals write their own checks out. As compared to, for instance, the Archangel Fund in New York City, or the Golden Seeds, they have funds where investors pool their money into a fund and decisions are made as a group, but they invest from a fund.
So in other words, when something comes up, somebody, one member of your group says, okay, I'm interested in doing this, I'll put up 100,000 or I'll put up 50,000, whatever.
But you also, they have to buy in.
Yeah. Well, traditionally, with angel groups, the due diligence done in groups, whether it's a fund or individual investors, traditionally, an individual angel can invest anywhere from $10 to maybe $20,000 or $30,000. Funds traditionally would invest 75 to 100 or 150. But if a startup is looking to raise $1 million, it's a collaborative space by necessity, because if the Westchester Angels want to put in 100 or 150,000, we're not going to write the checks out till the startup raises the balance of the money. Nobody wants to put the money in first unless they are assured that the balance of the round can be raised.
Sort of like selling out retail space in White Plains. Yeah. Now, you said, how does Westchester Angels hope to make this happen for the county, with county financial participation possibly? And how that,
well, in order to create an entrepreneurial community, you need a system. It's not just about the Westchester Angels or creating an incubator. First of all, you need feeder systems to provide startups for the system. And we're very fortunate in Westchester. As I said, we have Mercy College, we have Iona College. There's colleges that are teaching entrepreneurial classes. So there's a robust feeder system. If we can get incubators, there's one really exciting incubator in Westchester County right now. Deborah Novick heads up the biotech incubator in Valhalla, which is right in back of the New York Medical Center. They cater to biotech and medical type startups. But once you have the incubators, we need incubators to provide value in other industries. But it's not just about that, because once a startup gets through the incubator, they're going to need funding. They're going to need money, and the Westchester Angels fits that part of the system. But the startups are also going to need space. We need co-working spaces. Startups don't have money. And even if they do raise money, they have to spend every dollar wisely. They're not going to enter into a 3-year lease. They need co-working spaces where they can grow, hire 1 or 2 people at a time, 3 to 4 people at a time, and pay rent on a month-to-month or bi-monthly basis.
Are organizations like Westchester Business Council, Westchester County Association, local chambers of commerces behind this and doing anything to help you facilitate this?
We're all on the same team here.
Ah,
we're
very
all
good
on
answer.
the same side.
Yes, right.
You know, we're all here to
Yes.
create an infrastructure for Westchester. You know, I'm born and bred in Westchester. I grew up in Mount Vernon. I was actually born in the Cross County Shopping Center in Yonkers. So it's a true story.
One of the few successful malls these days in Westchester County.
Exactly. You know, I lived in Mount Vernon, Harrison, Larchmont. Now we're privileged to be able to live in Rye. What was the question again?
Okay, so the Business Council is
sure.
going to help look for
We're
you?
all on the same
Something
team.
like that?
The Westchester County Association, they provide a lot of value. You know, Bill Mooney Sr. is a dynamic force in the area. He's made some terrific inroads in the housing area, in the broadband area. And this is all part of the system, because if startups are going to locate here, they need to live someplace. They need to be connected. You know, Marcia Gordon of the Business Council is another dynamic force in the area, helping existing businesses network through meetings, events. They provide a lot of value, but in slightly different areas.
Right. Now, you said Westchester was way behind Connecticut in starting incubators. How far behind are we? And how about New Jersey, NYC, and Long Island?
Well, you know, in order to create an ecosystem here, it's really all about the money. It really is all about the money. There needs money to running an incubator. It's a business. It's a challenging business model, but it's a business. Connecticut Innovations in Connecticut has written, they wrote $53 million of checks to startups in the biotech space a couple years ago. It's a very robust organization. They have a lot of members, a lot of employees, and they work hand in hand with a lot of angel groups in Connecticut. So that system is already in place on a statewide basis. So I don't need to tell you about New York City. It's certainly one of the most entrepreneurial cities on the planet. Their infrastructure for feeders, incubators, accelerators, funding, I mean, it's well established. But the key part here is Westchester. We have the makings of creating a really fantastic entrepreneurial system. We're trained right away from the most entrepreneurial city on the planet. We have great potential employees. It's a great place to live. There's a lot of things going for it, and I'm excited about County Executive Latimer's initiative. First of all, he hired Bridget Gibbons, who has done things really well so far. The meeting that was had a couple of weeks ago, she had the right people in the room. She had the right people in the room that are, they're startups. Bruce Bockenheimer from Pace University runs an incubator. You know, Dan Pataki runs Finis Ventures. He ran the WCA initiative for innovation. The right people were in the room. You had my good friend Kim Jacobs of the SBA, you know, of Community Capital New York. They're an SBA lender. So I'm really excited about the possibility that Bridget is creating through County Executive Latimer, because the right people are there. And we had our friends at the premier co-working space in the area right down the road here in White Plains, my friend Ryan and John of the KOI co-working space, where we have our Westchester Angel meetings.
So how does a person that has a small business that feels he or she wants to get into a space get an audience with the Westchester Angels at the
Well, it's got to be a
Shark
business
Tank,
that's scalable.
Yeah.
It's not for what we would call lifestyle businesses, where if you wanted to open up a deli or a nail salon, those businesses can be very, very successful, and the owners can make a lot of money, but it's not a scalable business. We're looking for a business that can scale and be sold in 3 to 5 years for 20, 30 times
with
the amount.
national potential?
Exactly. It's got to be scalable. We're looking for the next Uber. is really what it is. We are really,
Which
we
may be
use that saying a
short-lived.
lot. Yeah, but you know, it's and the startups. Listen, a lot of these startups, they take the leap of faith, and we really do at the Westchester Angels. We respect that leap of faith. Maybe they're giving up a really good day job with a lot of money coming in, or they're just graduated for college and they're not going to get a job for the paycheck. They want to scale the business. It's a risky endeavor. As I said, half of these startups are going to fail, but we're looking for the next Uber.
So again, they submit resumes to you, and you guys select the best of the lot, and then you interview them?
Exactly. Well, we start with an application on the GUST platform, and then we actually have a screening committee. We review the startups. We select 8 to 10 startups to be pre-screened in person here in the KOI workspace in White Plains. And then as a group, we select the 3 or 4 startups that we feel are the most compelling to present to our investors.
I see. Jim.
It would seem that the best place for an incubator is to be near or affiliated with a college. Am I?
You're spot on. You know, most of the successful incubators have consistent sources of funding and through academia. NYU has a very robust incubator downtown. Steve Cayenne runs it. When you go there, you could feel the buzz. And this is nothing against government organizations, but traditionally they have their hands full running the government of that municipality. They're traditionally not good at running businesses. And that's why most government organization funded incubators fail. It's not a consistent source of funding, or if you're applying for grants, it's not a consistent source of funding.
I'm sure politics gets involved there too.
Yeah, politics is, you know, if you have one party
politics wouldn't have anything to do with such thing. But how could that happen?
How could
I'm
that
shocked.
happen?
Shocked you
But
would
you're
say that.
100% right.
Yeah.
So the incubators that are successful, like the Grand Central Tech in New York City, they got 4 floors right in the middle of Midtown. They're funded by corporate America. It's a really exciting incubator, but what they do, going back to it's part of the system. They have a very low acceptance rate. People are literally dying to get into this program because of the robust type of value that they provide. But they provide more than just the education. They provide contacts. They provide human resource. They provide workspace at very good rates. So, you know, it's government entities should promote and facilitate, but not run the actual incubator.
Yes, I think that might not work out too well.
Yeah.
As you say. Now, is this the right business climate today? It being so mercurial day to day, we're in the money. Next day, we're not in the money, and that's really the way the news is these days, economically. So, what's your take? Is this a great time for investing in startups, or taking that, rolling the dice on them? Well, intelligent dice, loaded dice, actually. Yes, right.
There is no shortage of startups looking for money. Yeah. So there is no shortage of potential investments that the Westchester Angels or any other angel group here in the New York area can invest in. And it's the right time for Westchester to create an entrepreneurial system. The pieces of the puzzle 4 years ago were not there. There was only 1 or 2 co-working spaces, and they were a little early. But now we have feeder systems. We have the Westchester Angels, which is part of a potential to invest. But if I had a wish, I'd like to see Westchester create a Westchester Innovation Fund with a lot of money, millions of dollars, to provide startup funding for startups that want to locate in Westchester, because just providing an incubator is not going to help Westchester unless these startups can get funding and physically locate their business here in Westchester. It doesn't make sense for Westchester to go out of their way and create an incubator unless the startups are going to set up shop here. So it's part of a system. An incubator is an integral part of an entrepreneurial system.
Okay. That is, I think, one of the most pithier things that has been said this morning, because you have to keep them here once you start them here.
Yeah, because the advantage to Westchester in creating new jobs, new taxation to help the infrastructure, it's about small businesses locating here in Westchester. And if we could provide this entrepreneurial system, listen, it's hard to compete against New York City, but we have a lot of things that New York City doesn't have. We have grass, we have trees, we have lower rents,
Yes.
we have really good access and communication, we have highways that are very easy to get into, this public transportation, and skilled workforce.
You should be director of county development, actually. But be that as it may, we have about 50 seconds to go. What's next for Westchester Angels to get boots on the ground, say, with the county and the businesses here?
Well, we're here to help.
Yeah.
We're here to help the entrepreneurial system in Westchester. We're going to be an active part of Bridget's initiative and County Executive Latimer's initiative to create an entrepreneurial spirit. The Westchester Angels, we're growing, and as we grow, we'll be able to fund more companies, provide more value for the companies that we invest in. And it's the right time in Westchester to get an incubator, co-working spaces, maybe create a Westchester fund. We have a lot of corporations here in Westchester. They can write checks out. The Pepsi-Colas, the Regenerons, they have entrepreneurial systems.
Right.
It's a good vibe here in Westchester. Now is the time to get it done.
Right. Well, Sandy Wollman, Westchester Angel, you have been heard. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm grateful for the time.
Yeah. John Bailey, Jim Benerofe, good night. For People to be Heard.